So an old blue update here is I installed new vacuum line on the brake booster, which this truck is a hydrovac system, so it comes off the intake manifold. At some point there was supposed to be a check valve somewhere up here. I'm assuming probably right there. Anyways, they're known for notoriously going bad after gas fumes hit it after a while. Long story short, they get brittle, they break, they leak, people bypass them. When I got the truck, it did not have a check valve at all in it. And that's what this piece right here is a metal check valve. I got it for 1/2 inch line. This convolution is due to it didn't have an actual 1/2 inch fitting, so I had to go a little bit bigger. And so there's, this, but it can be redone later on. I just needed the truck to drive. So I just fixed this little J clamp on here so it wouldn't chafe or rub, because I had to drive it yesterday and haul a load for a guy that I didn't like how it was just flopping and laying, so I fixed that. Today, a little thing a day will help a lot. And basically that's it. It's got new vacuum lines all the way down to the hydrovac system under the cab. It's got a single chamber setup. And so far it ran good. I did run into some fuel starvation issues. I figured it out whenever I turned the fuel pump on, and the fuel bowl here was just barely getting filled up, like 4 or 5 seconds of just letting run and it would barely fill it up, and then I could start the truck again. So this pump's probably dying. I don't know. Somebody stole some fuel off of me. This is a 55-gallon tank right here. It's actually quite large, as you can see all the way back. I ran into the issue yesterday of went up a steep incline, so all the fuel ran to the back and away from the suction straw over here, so I got to figure that out. And being that I have 2 different ports under there, one here and one there, I'm going to try to get me a fuel sender set up to actually work in it, so I can actually have a fuel gauge, which would be pretty cool. Moving on in, we have a fire extinguisher mounted. I'm probably going to put one on the other side, just like this. And I'm really considering mounting one in this corner, out of the way, but right there in case I need it, since it's right over top of the gas tank. I think that would be behooving of myself. Tossed in some safety glasses, never knowing you need them. I have a first aid kit back here. I put my OBS bench seat I got in a trade in the truck, and that actually matches Old Blue pretty good, in my opinion. It ain't no new thing, but it is what it is. Since I've had the truck, I replaced the headlight switch, dimmer switch set up. That was a crux of why my lights weren't working. So there's that. I've been moving into wiring, as you can see over here, and oh my god. I have power ran over to this switch, and that switch then breaks off to the fuel pump and my 2-speed switch, so it pulls double duty. But I only need the 2-speed switch to be working while the truck is on. I don't need it any other time because it was causing a parasitic draw on the battery. And this is the new brake switch that I've got to install and get my brake lights working correctly. I need to get the fuel pedal fixed. It's broken on the back side, as you can see there, so it doesn't want to stay, but that could be remedied by another bolt put in. So I'll fix it. It's just taking me time, because I do work 40 hours a week plus at a regular full-time job, so there's that. As far as lighting goes, all my lights work except for the dome light, which I think is just a bulb. I'm not sure. I'm going to do some more tracing of wiring. For whatever reason, I found that both of these switches here were taped on the off position, so I'd say they're just bad. So I'll probably end up replacing those just to make everything work correctly. The new tires on the outside, back outside again, just wanted to hit on that. I changed differential fluid. What came out of it was a black mess. New tires worked great. Handled the almost 6 tons of wet sand that I had very good. The wiring back here, I have it fixed so I can get to it easy, because I'm still in the diagnosis / whatever on things. The exhaust will be leaving soon. I'm just leaving it on there as is because I don't have a better option at the moment. But it will be going to a Y pipe with a single outlet. If my mind doesn't change, it may end up as a stack and out, so that the exhaust doesn't get caught on stuff. Yeah, the wiring's the best right now. I know that, so you don't have to goad me into that. Just like I said, I've just been poking around with this thing, trying to get it running. I ran out of paint, obviously, but a couple more cans and my doors will be coated good enough for government work. And moving forward, old Blue got some nice little upgrades in the fact I replaced the battery cable wiring. Everything's working so far. Now, for whatever reason, I do still have a parasitic loss, so given I ain't going to be driving the truck for a few days, I'm going to go ahead and take a swing nut off and remove the cable so that my battery doesn't die again, because it's actually a pain to jump start this thing. Next on my list for the engine, I do need to get some new spark plug wires, so I'll be getting those probably the next thing I buy. Like I said, I've narrowed down about 5 things of this truck that keeps it from being a crusty looking but great running unit, and that is the lighting issues with the brakes and turn signals and stuff. Turn signals work, brake lights not so much. It's more of a brake light, running light issue. And I also have an issue that when I pull the wiper, I have an issue with the marker lights up front, that if I pull just the marker lights on, all the marker lights work correctly. Click it out to the headlight notch and my headlights work, and the back half, everything from the bed back, works as it should, including 4-ways. 4-ways will work up here. But as far as the marker lights themselves, these and the cab lights go off with the headlights on. Why? I have no idea. I suspect ground wires, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, it's not exactly the most, intense setup I've ever seen. Probably a good day of cleaning grounds and dressing up the wiring will fix that. I do plan on split looming this and just getting it all up out of the way. So, wiring issue. I need to fill the hoist box up with some hydraulic fluid. When I did my haul yesterday, I noticed it wasn't quite raising all the way up. It'd get about, I don't know, more than 3/4, but not quite a full lift. And then it would just kind of stop and you'd see it jerk a little bit like that. So I'll get that out of the way. And then again, the brakes, they're better. Like this check valve did help, but now I think I may need a vacuum canister to store the vacuum in. I think I have one on my little truck, but I'd like to actually get a pretty good sized canister for that. So again, lighting, brakes, and hoist box, and whatever this fuel starvation issue is, which I highly suspect is just a weakened pump, because it takes it forever to fill up this little bowl here. And that also incorporates new hosing and stuff for the fuel lines. Get rid of all this rubber line crap and use as little of that as possible. I'll just use steel brake line and be done. Other than that, old Blue is doing good. It's a general use truck. I have not for hire on it before anybody scolds me on that. I'm allowed to do favors for people, let's call it that. This was a project I do intend to get in here and clean and paint up paint things, get it a lot nicer looking. Because overall, I do intend to sell this and move back to the OBS 80 to 96 variants of stuff. But this was what I could find for my budget, and so far it's been very simple to work on. It's just been a pain due to it's about 10 years out of my league, if you know what I mean. So far, engine has driven great. Like, once you get it running, this truck fires up and goes good. So again, no qualms there. It doesn't seem to have any leaks other than a power steering leak. I'm not sure if it's the box, a hose, or what, but I'll dig into that later. That's about it. I do plan on painting my frame. That's another thing I'd like to do, is make it nice and black. Really overspray that in blue, whatnot. I'd like to raise the bed, pressure wash it one more time, and then paint everything black just to make it nice and neat, whatnot. Just a couple more side notes I'd like to address that I will get to, but it'll be after this truck does a little better job paying for itself and gets me out of the red as much as I can. And one is take that ridiculous cap off the top of there and shorten it back down the way it's supposed to be, and get rid of all these booger welds and crapola that's going on. From a 50-footer, it don't look bad. You get up close to it and you're like, eh. Looks like Ray Charles went to work with a welder here. But yeah, that's the worst of that. And then the second thing also associated is that is crooked as all get out. I'll post a picture of it out on flat ground here in just a second. And yeah, you can see that the right side here is a good 1.5 inches taller than this left side, so that panel hitch box has to be cut out and everything leveled and then welded back, which I'd probably feel a little more comfortable with anyway. Speaking of lighting, these are probably going to get ripped out, and I've got a set of pod lights that I got in a deal off Amazon that'll probably replace those reverse lights. So that'll be probably another weekend warrior type of deal to get it done. But that's pretty much it for old Blue. I got my leaky axle fixed on the passenger side. My landlord actually had a stud that fit everything. Her dad had an old truck. It was like a 75, but it also worked. So yeah, I've got a few more things to do, but old Blue's almost ready to doctor up and sell.